1922 is directed by Zack Hilditch and stars Thomas Jane in his third Stephen King adaptation after Dreamcatcher and The Mist. This is also the third Stephen King adaptation film we've gotten recently after It and Gerald's Game. This one, just like Gerald's Game, debuted on Netflix, and this is based off a Stephen King short story about a family who lives on a farm in 1922, a husband, a son, and a mother, and after years of arguments and financial disputes, the husband begins to plan to kill his wife and tries to get his son to help him. 1922 was one of my favorite Stephen King short stories. It was very contained, very claustrophobic. It knew exactly where to hit you in regards to this murder plot. It was about guilt. It was about the trauma of a bad marriage, the trauma of a bad childhood, being roped into a financial scheme, and how one bad decision can basically ruin your life as well as everyone else's. As far as the most recent Stephen King adaptations, this is probably the weakest of the three, and it will often be compared to that, at least now. In the future, probably not so much, as people see it and forget that it came out in this gigantic influx of Stephen King adaptations. But it's unfair, I think, to compare it to It and Gerald's Game, even though it's not the best of the three. The original short story is also probably the weakest of the source material that these films are adapting. And this film captures it beautifully. It's very faithful. Thomas Jane gives one of the best performances I've ever seen from him. He plays a rancher who isn't as simple-minded as actors often portray these types of characters. He's very smart, he's conniving, he knows exactly what he wants, and he knows the evil ways to get it. But he's not dumb. He doesn't play this character like he's stupid. This is one of the better performances I've seen from an actor this year. I thought he was really magnificent. I was honestly blown away for the first act. It is so taut and very suspenseful. It's masterfully helmed. And as we watch this murder plot develop between the father and son, I found it really riveting. Once the second and the third act hits, the film sometimes slows down in regards to pacing because it's really about one man and his son rotting away. We get to see the repercussions of a horrible act and how this can weigh on someone's mind so much that everything else in their life becomes meaningless. And the guilt that's associated with doing something so horrible consumes his life and almost everyone around him. But I would say the weakest element of this movie is that once the film hits that point, the high point of the short story, the film doesn't always exactly know what to do after that beyond showing this guy rotting away. And this is cool because this is exactly what happened in the short story. But as a film, I think it was stretched too long. The runtime is about an hour and 41 minutes, and this easily could have been an 80 to 90 minute film. There's a lot here that we don't need. The point has already been made, and sometimes the film keeps giving and giving, and the pacing suffers as a result. That's my only real issue with this movie. It captures the source material really beautifully. It's extremely well shot. Thomas Jane is excellent in this film. And as we watch a father and son deal with the colossal consequences of a horrible decision, the message really hits home. I'm going to give 1922 a B. The pacing could have been better, some of it could have been trimmed, but it is extremely well acted and very faithful to the short story. It's on Netflix now. I recommend checking it out. Guys, thank you so much for continuing to watch the 5th annual Halloween special. As always, if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.